Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. My God, why have you forsaken me?
Ladies and gentlemen, ask yourselves a simple yet unsettling question. Can you truly be free if every action you will ever take is already known by an all-knowing God? If the future is fixed in the mind of an omniscient being, then your choices were never choices at all. Today I argue that if God possesses absolute foreknowledge, then free will cannot exist. Therefore, the very concept of such a God becomes incoherent. So let's begin with the first point, casual necessity. Let's imagine God infallibly knows that tomorrow you're going to choose coffee over tea. Something very simple, right? But could you still choose tea over coffee? If you did, then God's foreknowledge will be wrong. Something impossible for an omniscient being. Therefore, your decision is not free. It is necessary. And some may argue, but God doesn't cause your choices. He just knows them ahead of time. But how can something be known with absolute certainty and still be open? Infallible knowledge fixes the outcome. Foreseeing becomes indistinguishable from determining. If we were to put this in simpler words, let's say that God is a movie director and we're the actors. You just can't hit play and pretend the actors are being themselves. They are following a script that was written and determined by a more powerful being. The actors aren't free, they are just following the script. Now, let's consider the second point, the paradox of divine existence. Classical theology says that God sees all of time at once. Your birth, your mistakes, your final breath, everything. But if your actions exist eternally in God's vision, is there really any room for genuine freedom? If your path is already laid out, can we really claim authorship of our life? Some claim maybe divine mind is beyond human comprehension. But is that an explanation or an escape? Saying it's a mystery does not solve a contradiction. If God breaks the rules of logic, how can we meaningfully claim He exists at all? If a concept cannot be coherently described, it cannot be coherently believed. Finally, consider what this means for our moral lives. If every action is already contained in God's knowledge, then life becomes a predetermined script, right? Picture a world where a student fails, a parent dies, a criminal harms, and every action was locked in from eternity. How can we punish, forgive, or praise actions no one could avoid? Some argue, maybe God values order over freedom. But what kind of God will send someone to burn in an eternal lake of fire for following God's own plan? What kind of all-loving, moral, good, perfect God will allow all this suffering, all this pain on this world, knowing every action, every decision, every choice, every action to harm, to kill, to murder was decided by him, was already written in his plan? That doesn't sound like a loving God to me. A God who cannot be spoken of rationally cannot serve as the foundation of meaning. So where does this leave us? With a stark and unavoidable choice. Either humans are truly free, or an omniscient God exists, but never both. These two ideas cannot coexist without collapsing into contradiction. And if we take seriously our lived experience of choosing, failing, hoping, and shaping our own futures, then the flaw does not lie in the reality of free will. It lies in the classical conception of God. So I invite you to reflect honestly and courageously. What kind of world do you want to live in? One when your destiny is already written, or one when your freedom is real enough to rewrite the universe with every decision you make? Think about it.